Got a funny story of the day. When I say it's funny, it's really not funny. But I guess that's my Pisces coming out into me doing a little groundwork, calling it a funny story. But I was talking to a guy the other day, and we were talking about getting back on track after you have rain. Because they were having quite an issue with rain, and we all, or not all of us, that's probably too broad of a picture, but we all experience rain generally at some point during the year. But this year's been a pretty daggone wet year, and and he was talking about how do I get back on track, and I said, well, you tell me, how do you get back on track? And I thought it was pretty interesting during this conversation that he said, well, a lot of times we just skip that week and we just catch it back up the following week. And, I don't want to be the one that says that's the wrong way to do it, but that certainly is not a great way to do it. It might work for you, but the problem that you run into with that is, when you skip a week to try to stay on track, what's that next week when you're there? Are you getting compensated for the additional time that it takes because now it's become a bi-weekly cut? It's 2 weeks. Now I can hear you thinking that, well, it's not the customer's fault, that we had the rain. And I get that. It's not the customer's fault. But it's also not your fault. And when you skip the week, what does that actually mean? It means that's money that you're not ever going to recover. Now you might think, well, okay, well, yeah, we're going to recover that money. We'll just make it up somewhere else. Or we always give ourselves a million reasons on how we're going to recover from something that we do when we give up the income and the profit from skipping on a job like that. Because why skip? If you're 3 or 4 days late, and that may be an extreme situation, I know the justification that a lot of contractors use, and it's the same justification that I used to use many, many years ago was, well, if I'm normally cutting that yard on Tuesday and I mow it on Friday, I can't go back on next Tuesday. Why not? Why can't you? You absolutely can. You're already 2 or 3 days late, let's say, and they're not paying you any more, even though it's going to take you more time to take care of the property because of the extra height on the grass, right? Why can't you go back and get them on their normal day? That's what you should be doing. That's exactly what you should be doing. Hey, if you get rained out on Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday, you start on Tuesday stuff. Don't miss out on that. Don't give away. I mean, you ever thought about what that amounts to over the course of a year? It's going to be different for every one of us because every one of us are mowing a different number of properties. But once it's gone, it's gone. And when not to be repetitive here, but hey, when I'm 3 days late and I get on a property and the grass is higher, we all know it takes us more time to do it. So, hey, if you're 3 days late, go ahead and mow it, but get them back on their regular schedule. Explain that to your clients when you sell them and when you're talking to them, that's how you're going to do it. That way they understand. Because it's got to balance itself out. Hey, I'll spend more time on it, because I'm 3 days late, but next week it may be 5 days when I'm there instead of 7 or 4. But but we're going to get you back on your regular scheduled day. We're going to keep your property looking professional. Isn't that what you want? That simply is a yes or no answer. And if they say no, then maybe you're dealing with the wrong clientele. At least in that business model, things balance themselves out. Yeah, you put more time in early on, but then it's faster when you get there the following week to get them back on their regular day. So it balances itself out. You can't lose on both ends. And that's what happens too many times. When I say we as an industry, You as a contractor and a business owner, you can't lose on both ends of that. That's what we need to think about, looking at how we can build a better business model, how you can do that. And it's not a hard thing to fix. We make it hard to fix because we don't have the confidence. It goes back to giving your customer a choice between something and something else, and never a choice between something and nothing. And this kind of leads us into a little bit of a selling aspect for a second, but I think it's important to talk about it. There's an old saying that goes back to, I got to think about this a second because I want to get it right. It's about a guy that sold milkshakes, basically. Okay? And this when I say it's an old saying, y'all know where the root of that came from, I'm sure, right? Okay, that's one of my dad's things again. But the reality of it, I think it's very valid here, of giving a customer a choice between something and something else, never a choice between something and nothing. But guy had an ice cream place and he was selling milkshakes, and you may have heard this story before, but it's relevant. Somebody'd order a milkshake, and one of the people working there would say, "Well, I don't suppose you'd want an egg in that, would you?" And that's when people added eggs into things, like milkshakes and whatnot, or whatever. They were going after the extra protein or whatnot. You think, and Daniel could probably help me clear it up what the egg was used for. But anyways, make a long story short, this is how it works. So I don't suppose you'd want an egg in that. Well, how many eggs do you think they sold? They weren't selling minis, the answer. It's kind of like skipping a week when you get behind because of rain. The other option, though, is to say one egg or two. Give your customer a choice between something and something else. Hey, one egg or two. The answer could still be none, right? The answer can still be none. But at least you're giving the customer a choice between something and something else. And I think that's what we need to do a better job at. Whether we're selling mowing, whether we're selling lawn applications, regardless of what you're selling, lighting, doesn't matter what you're selling. But give your customer a choice between something and something else. The reality of this, and Daniel was telling me this happened to them about a month ago, and I swear to God, this is a true story. He said they went into an ice cream place. I think it's called Grater's or something. It doesn't matter what the name of the place was. But him and his girlfriend went in there to get an ice cream. And his girlfriend ordered an ice cream, and she, well, one scoop of this. Swear to God, this is a true story. So the guy gave her one scoop. Well, the person that waited on Daniel said, "Hey, would you like an extra scoop for another 50 cents? Now, there's two people working at the same place. One of them's an order taker, and one of them's a salesperson. Daniel still could have said no, but they never gave Caitlin the opportunity to buy something else. They never gave her a choice. They just filled the order. So, ask yourself, are you an order taker or are you a salesperson?